for a very long time. I've been playing CS since I was 18. Since I was 17. So it's about 13 years ago. Been playing CS for 13 years. Holy cow. It's a long time. I think when I was younger, CS was the only game in the LAN shops. So every time I walk into one, the only thing I always to play was CS. So that's how I got into it. And I also played online with my brother a lot. He was the first one to install Steam. So I watched him play CS and I thought, oh, this is a really fun game. I decided to play with him. So he's actually the one that brought me in, my younger brother. No, I'm the older brother. The better brother. Well, they didn't like it at first. Took them like a long time, 5 years minimum. Anytime she was pissed off with me, she'd just pull out the internet and that was the end of my night. But as it went along and I got older, my father pretty much supported my career. Like, he's a businessman, so he sort of looked at the esports scene and he saw it growing and saw all the money inside. So he said, okay, look, you can actually pursue this as a career. Just make sure to give it your all. And then he's the one that actually convinced my mom that it's actually okay for me to continue playing. It took them a long time to come around thinking that esports is a viable thing. At that time it was for them it was a legit concern because there was no scene. 1.6 was a dying game and there pretty much was no future. I wasn't being paid until my first org, which was Boot. So for them not being able to see the money until I was like 26 years old, it was worrying. But when I finally got paid and they could see I was traveling for competitions, they could actually see there was a global appeal, then they felt that okay, doing this is not so bad, And I also explained to them that I can like move on into like working in an organization and stuff. So there was some form of career progression. I went into the army when I was 18 years old. So I was lucky. After basic military training, which was 3 months of staying in the army camp, I got into a 9-to-5 job, so to speak. I was a technician in the army, so I could come home every day and practice. So it didn't really affect me that much because it was a continuation of what I was doing in school. I did school CS and it became army CS, and when I went to the university, it was university CS. So nothing changed in my routine. It didn't really affect me at all, and I was still playing competitions in the army. Well, the main difference is a lot easier to not be as emotionally invested. Because as a player, if you're not performing, you kind of get upset with yourself, which you shouldn't do. But you kind of like, you're very that's what I mean. Just very, very invested into the round. But as a coach, I can see the overview. I can click through. I'm not so stressed out by what's going on. Well, particularly because I was at IGL. So like when things happen, I try to pay attention to everything, but I don't have the full overview. But as a coach, I can see everything. I think that would be the main difference. I'm a lot calmer as a coach, I think. Aside from that, it's just less fun to play, to not be playing. It's a more cerebral kind of role, I guess, and it's just different. Like, it's really, really different. I think right now they're quite self-motivated, so I haven't had the problem of like pulling them aside and trying to push them in the right direction. But how do I motivate them? I guess particularly for me, I'm older, so it's a lot easier for me to draw parallels into like what I was at that age and tell them like, look, this is the things I regret and I don't want them to go down the same path. And right now I'm in the midst of trying to change up practice schedule so that it's a lot less mundane for them. So I guess I can describe both styles. I'm a lot looser as a caller, so I would like my teammates to go and express themselves in game. Whereas Ben has a little bit more of a stricter calling calling style. So he would try to make sure that people end the round the way he wants it to end. And thus, I think that's the main difference. I'm a lot looser, so I have players like either going crazy or making horrible mistakes. And it was for them. I think it was a little bit harder to play the way I wanted them to play, because it's less structured. You know, there's a lot of feel going on. Like I wanted them to make their own reads without me saying anything. Whereas I think when Ben calls, it's a lot calmer. Like I find when I'm watching them playing right now, it's a lot. Everybody's a lot clearer what to do. A lot less. They play with less freedom, but a lot more control. Is what I would say.